Let's move on to insulated glass unit. Basically, people would call a double glaze unit. Yes, of course, it is nothing but there are two pen or hermetically sealed with help of silicone with the space air gap, which allow us to give us space. And the aluminum channel has a desiccant, which will playing a vital role in terms of providing the transparency and less conductions. Let's go through that. So, understanding on surfaces of glass positions. Basically, if you want to process the double glaze unit, so you will have to be very careful in terms of understanding of surface of glasses. So, glass has normal plain glass, for example, 6 mm glass, we take it. At the time of manufacturing, you have two phases, first phase and top and bottom phases. Top base is called as air surfaces. Bottom surfaces, which we called as tin surfaces, because when the float manufacturing process and the glass fed, which is passing from one place to other place, which is kept over on the tin medium, which is transmitting one place to other place. So, the tin is with the helping from glass to not to fall touch any other material surfaces. So, this tin which is helping to transport from one place to another place. So, wherever that portion of the bottom surface which is touching tin surface, which is called tin side, opposite side which is top side, which is called air side. So how this is will help here. So, whenever you look at it, the DGU, so for example, when you look at it outside from the building, basically exterior of the building, what you saw, the first pane, the surface is called phase 1. The same glass has a phase 2, that is called phase 2, and air gap, and third glass has which is third glass, which is supposed to be looked at from the inside at maybe that portion is called a surface 3 and surface 4. I hope you understand. So, when you look at it from the exterior of the building, what phase you are looking, that is a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So, you will have to keep in mind. So, if you understand this, so you can read the specification of the glass compositions, where the coating phase is going to be, solar control or Loic coating is going to be glazed. So, generally in nature in India, the surface like coated surfaces, like offline coated surfaces would be on phase 2, you can identify here. So, let us move on this IGU part. So, having said that, so DGU playing a vital role in terms of acoustic and less condensation, aesthetic, energy conservation, so on performances. How it helps, that's application wise, how it helps. Each part has playing a major, essential, vital role in terms of IGU process. Glass always has a superior for IGU process, but even other substance like other parts are even more essential for IGU process. So, which means glass, you take two glasses hermetically sealed with the help of primary and secondary silicone, and you have a aluminum spacer which will give a space of like a 6 mm, 12 mm air gap or 16 mm air gap or 6 mm glass. So, basically it will give a it's a double glaze unit, okay, it is a glazed between the two panels, and either you can apply dry air or inert gas like argon, xenon, krypton gases can be high thermal performance gases can be inserted inside the DGU. At the time of processing you can do that. And aluminum channel has it's a hollow aluminum channel, has a desiccant. So, this desiccant will have a lot of give effect performance to the glass. If the desiccant failure, your DG is going to be failure in a over period of, it's very period of time. For example, it is going to be a condensation like refrigeration system, whatever you say nowadays, all the shopping complex, like all the refrigeration system, what you inside you can go through, there is a glass pan and inside there is a refrigeration. So, outside the temperature, like 30 degrees centigrade, inside will be a like minus 20 degrees centigrade or less than that. So, you will have a condensation effect. In order to avoid the condensation effect, This desiccant will help us to view the glass, view the product, what is inside. So, this will absorb the water moisture at any point of time. So, a single glazing for U value is 5.8 watts per meter square Kelvin, whereas if you use a double glaze unit like 6 mm, 12 mm air gap and 6 mm, you will get a U value of 2.8. Even it can be reduced with the help of solar reflective coated glasses if you use it. Furthermore, the U value reduction you can get it. And for example, if you use any triple silver or double silver coated glasses, you can furthermore can be reductions, U value reduction you can get. So, the more reduction of U value, which is 1.4 watts per meter square Kelvin, so you will have a more performance of the glass. So, the single pan has a 5.8 watts per meter square Kelvin. Double silver, for example, if you take it, the U value of the double glaze unit is going to be 1.5 watts per meter square Kelvin. So, thereby you have the profound energy saving you can get it. So, single glass, so you see the 30 degrees centigrade it allows. If you use a double glaze without any solar control glasses, only a single glass, clear glass, you will get a reduction of 8 degree, 26 degrees centigrade. Whereas if you use 1.2 watts per meter square Kelvin as a double coated solar control thermal insulated coating, if you are doing it, so you have a reduction of 23 degrees centigrade you can get it, whereas it was 32. So, you will get a considerable heat reduction inside the building. So, thereby you can save the energy saving. So, this is the tabulations which we have talked about it. So, benefits of insulating glasses. First and primarily it is be aesthetically, it will be appealing in a facade. So, nowadays you see wherever you go in a metropolitan city, so all the IT and complexes are facade. So, basically you can see that the amount of glass has been used widely. It's nowadays the construction industry has been widely booming across the global. So, the glass occupying the most space, thereby you get the aesthetic feeling, okay. You can use earlier it was ACP was occupied. Nowadays the glass has been occupied the space of building. This is the facade, you can get a aesthetic and improved comfort. So, which you talk about if you use a solar and triple silver thermal insulated coating glasses, if you use double glazed, you can have a great inside comfort. People can go and sit near the glasses, whereas if you use this very single glasses, single pane, you cannot go and sit the glasses and near to the glasses. You can achieve this. Less condensation, we talked about this desiccant which is playing a vital role in terms of absorbing the water moisture inside the DGU. If anything happen, it absorbs, so it will give you the transparency as well as a less condensation effect. I would say there is no condensation effect. And increased light and view, it's the most important factor for IGU panel or in terms of glass usages. It will avoid the artificial lights inside the building. If you use the number of glass in your building, you can considerable reduction of your energy bill, because you don't want to use artificial lighting. So, the glass would allow how much light, you can decide what glass you can use it, how much reflection inside, what light transmission has to come inside, you can decide. So, there are a wide variety of glasses are available. So, through which we can achieve this increased light and view or decreased light and view also we can achieve this. Having said that, energy saving, it's the most important nowadays. Energy is a factor for all the economical growth. So, the amount of carbon emission will have to reduce. So, the glass usage will give you the payback in a period of 2 years. It will give a payback, thereby you can considerable reduction of your energy bills. So, energy conservation we talked about. So, if you want to use in summer, so you will have to use air conditioning. So, thereby the considerable heat come inside, it will be reflected, just stopped. It will not allow your heat penetrate to the building. So, the glass will protect the heat coming from the outside to inside. So, thereby you have a greater energy saving. And winter as well, so the inside heat would not go away, it will retain that. So, winter you need a heat. So, this whatever thermal heat like bulbs, laptops or other appliances or body heat which is producing inside, that's a thermal heat which is inside, so it will not escape. So through this glass, so it will considerably, so you don't want the heating, whereas in India we don't have heating technology. So other like European countries are having a heating technology. I mean inside the room, if it is colder they'll heat it. So again we don't want to invest for heating the building, inside the building when in winter is on. And perfect transparency, most wanted, people want to see outside. Okay, nowadays people are seeing like curtains or blinds or louvers or any obstacles to view outside has problem right now. So you can choose appropriate glass, thereby you can see from inside to outside. So outside to inside also it can select appropriate glass selections. Acoustic performance, yes, you can definitely achieve this, because if you use a laminated glass with a on DGU, you'll have a more performance. You can see here it's a normal 4+4, you'll have a decibel of 40 decibel which is reduced, I mean inside to the reduce, whereas it was a 70 decibel outside. If you use a double glaze, you'll have a 40 decibels, so 30 decibel has been completely reduced. It's a quite effective changes here on acoustic performance. So likewise, the more the more layer you increase it of laminator paints, the thickness of the DGU, you'll have a respective acoustic performance. It's widely used in hospitals and airports, where you will take off, you'll have a huge blowing ass sound from this plane. So occupant will get disturbed, or it's not comfortable category. So you will not have a comfortable on your board, I mean journey. So in order to protect that one, so the double glaze unit with the laminated glass would ideally helpful for such traffic areas. Can be used in hospitals. Yes, you want to use your patients to be very calm at the time of inside the hospital. So you can use such a product, so they can protect it from the outside. The wind load, yes, it will deflect, the glass would deflect, so this will mechanically sealed, so this will, the deflection can be allowed and it'll go to the original positions if you use a double glaze unit. Application of insulating unit is like you can see the architecture glass, facade, residential application. You see the wider view which you can get it from the glass. Earlier it's completely masonry, cement. Now you can see what is happening around the country through the glass. So widely used in facade IGUs. You can do the number of coloring. I mean either you can form of ceramic, digital printing, or laminated PVB can be changed. So you can have a greater color performance on your building. You can choose it through with help of IGUs. So any shape, not only rectangular, square, it can be done in any shape of the building. You can do it on the double glaze unit. So these are the common applications. Skylight. It's more light would come and pass from top side to inside. So you need not use any artificial lighting inside. So nowadays it's very famous in India and European country. They are far ahead for the using such a application for Skylight. Let's move on to laminated glass. Basically there are two layers, basically 2 panes of glass, fuse more or one or more layer of a polyvinyl butyl sandwiched between them and treated subject to heat and pressure is applied. The pane can be a basic float glass, a tempered glass, or annealed glass you can say, or heat strengthened glass. Okay, so different type of glasses. Processed glass can be sandwiched. So comprise 2 or more sheets of the bonded held with help of the polyvinyl butyl interlayer, which is called, that is a prime function of interlayer, which is having capacity of holding together of the 2 panes. It's nominally it's 0.38 mm of nominal thicknesses. So this is the lamination process, like loading, glass surface preparations, washing and nip roll assembly, where you have a lap roaming, like you have rollers, pressure chambers and heating heaters, where completely glass and PVB has been kept over there. So it will be released from the Nipro process, the air pockets will be sealed, which is all the periphery will be sealed, and it will be a translucent. In order to get a transparent, you will have to keep it into autoclave process. So that way you will get a transparent glass. So laminated glass breakages, these are the glass, you can see this is the event of breakages, it held together, it will not fall off. Okay, so it will protect the occupant inside. Even if it in case breakages, you have a replacement time. So till the new glass comes, so you need not to panic. So this will help in terms of occupant as well as processor to deliver the glass. So this is the fragmentation pattern of laminated glasses. Benefits, yes, safety and security, bullet resistance glass you can do, cyclone, blast resistance, solar control, and UV protections. Yes, the 99% of UV protection you can get it from laminated glasses. For example, if you use any curtains or you are near the furnitures, you get faded over the year if you use normal clear glass. If you use laminated glasses, thereby you can protect your furnitures near to the glasses. And noise control, which you discussed about having earlier, noise control, acoustic performance, you can get it from the laminated glasses. And safety combined with the privacy, which is called privacy, like where you want in a single click, this electrically operated glass, which you have a film inside. So if you use energy to the glass, it will become opaque to transparent, transparent to opaque. You can play accordingly. You can do it from this laminated glasses. And decorative purpose, yes, decorative purpose, you can laminate with this any paper, silks, photos, a lot of things you can do it on the laminated glass, which means that is EVA process, ethyl vinyl acetate, which is basically interior applications. Next, we are going to talk about the printing on glass, basically enamels or mineral paints, which can be printed on glass. Several processes like screen printing, spray printing, roller coater or digital printer. So these are the process of processor would do for kind of printing on glass. So what is happening? So you can see, let us discuss first on the screen printing. So screen printing, nothing but you have a mesh like a screen will be fabricated with help of aluminum with the periphery in a tight motions. You have to keep it, and you can see here we are applying the paint, like basically it's a ceramic, it's a glass flake with the pigment and with the mixing of proportions according to the thickness of what you want, and you can mix and you can pour on the top of the screen, and you see that the drying process is happening. After that, it will be a fired process. Basically, once you fired, which is basically tempering process, once you do that, coating is getting fused on the glass surfaces. Thereby, people cannot remove at the you cannot remove it. Basically, the coating is get deposited, which means fused on the glass. So it's a permanent bonding between the glass and surface of the coating, through which the screen printing is helped. You can do any dots, stripes, based on the design of your silk screen, you can get the patterns. Next is digital printing on glass. You can see that printing head on the machines, how it looks like, and this is the picture. This is a DPI, like dots per inches. So you can see this is eye, which it's a minute dots which has been deposited on the surfaces. Thereby you can get an image of the on the glass surfaces. Digital printing process, like first of all, image processing. Basically, whatever image you want to print it, you'll have to keep it to the computerized system, which will help for printer to analyze, which is it will give a image processing, how much percentage of resolutions and as well as how much percent of color has to be given to the headers. So these are the image processing will be taken care by the software of the computer. And glass preparation is most important. So should be away from the dust and other fingerprints, other residual surface should be very free from that, basically for printing. Otherwise the printing would not possible you to do effective printing. Digital printing, headers which is passing and drying. Once you have done it, and it keep on drying process, and after that you can do a tempering. So these are the applications you can get it done through digital printing. Next, let's talk about frosting. Frosting is two types. One is sand frosting and acid frosting. Sand frosting is nothing but you can see the machine, which is the vertical machines where you can load the glass, and this machine has a header which will has a lot of orifice nozzle where the sand sand is getting pumped through this orifice, where thereby you can get a surface roughness through this. So wherever you want to eliminate the roughness, you can polyvinyl film you can apply the surfaces, so that when it passes through when you're doing application over there, so those areas will be protected with help of polyvinyl. So thereby you can get an enormous design, whatever design you want to do it, you can achieve through this masking effect with the help of polyvinyl. And next we will move on to as frosted appearance may be given to the glass by covering it a mixture of magnesium sulfate. So this is the acid, so basically which is poured on the table, on the glass surfaces. When its solution dries, the magnesium sulfate crystallizes into the glasses, you can get the frosting effect. Basically sand frosting have a surface is very rough, whereas acid frosting would not have a rough, but you can see the finishes would be the identical. You can see the application below the pictures are through acid frosting as well as sand frosting.